Good day, amazing people. Welcome to Trends. My name is PJ. I'm here today with a topic that seems to be shaking the internet, particularly in the course of this week on Twitter. So, Temilade Salami came up with a tweet, and the tweet says, I quote, I saw a video on IG where a lady was saying, how can a man she wants to marry not know AJS, Apostle Joshua Selman, and Peanut, which is Pastor Nathaniel Bassi, and it went on to say, I really wonder, this is Temilade's thoughts now, I really wonder when this became a yardstick for who you should marry. Who also shows me that this stems from the perspective that listening to a certain minister is yardstick. Now, there were many, many, many thoughts, comments, and opinions to this particular tweet. I don't know if that tweet can be up right now in case you missed it. And we have some very, very funny, some very funny thoughts to that particular tweet when it came up on the Twitter space that very day. Someone went ahead to say, are these programming languages? It was quite funny because just to consolidate the thought that not knowing certain people is, a valid point with which you can even cancel somebody. I do not know if this person is being sarcastic or not, but is this a programming language? Are these programming languages simply means that this particular fellow doesn't even know who these people are, not to talk of, the acronyms, what they stand for, and who they represent in the body of Christ. On that same particular tweet was a quote. Someone quoted to say, you cannot be a Christian in this age and you don't know Pastor Nathaniel Bassi and Apostle Joshua Selman, Pastor Jerry Eze, etc. How? It's a valid yardstick. Many people have come up to say valid or not. There are many other opinions to this topic. And just before we go ahead to take some of these opinions from our correspondents, for example, Pastor Nathaniel Bassi, who is always very, very quick to debunk or be vocal about his opinions when there seems to be anything surrounding him, actually gave a comment on this particular post. He gave a comment, he gave his thoughts, and I would like us to look into that. He said, my dear brothers, my dear brothers and sisters, you are blessed. Just a note of caution. Please, let's be careful and guided so we don't turn our passion to unholy obsession. Not knowing Nathaniel Bassi or any of the young, vibrant servants of God being used does not make you any less a Christian. In fact, there are so many Christians who have never heard of me nor my music. It doesn't make them any less Christians, okay? They don't have to know me. I'm not the best thing after sliced bread. Of course, we always love Pastor Nathaniel Bassi's sense of humor and his varying thoughts when it comes to subject matters that seem to arise, that has his name tagged on them. He has been one minister that is always vocal when things like this come up to either share his thoughts, debunk perspectives or opinions that do not glorify God. He went on to say, I do not even see myself in that manner. I would be thinking of myself more highly than I ought doing so. For I say, through the grace given unto me, to every man that is among you, not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think, but to think soberly, according as God had dealt to every man the measure of faith. That's from Romans 12, verse 3. Also, not joining the Hallelujah Challenge does not make you any less a Christian. People are free to connect with what's best for them. People are free to connect with what is best for them. What are your thoughts? I'd really love to read our, thoughts on this particular topic. You can just send in your thoughts in the comment section. If you would like to If you'd like to maybe take this conversation further, there's a number displayed on the screen that you can also send your thoughts to and engage with us much more beyond, YouTube. So if you're watching this on Ambience Television, on any of the free-to-air decoders that you're watching from at home, you can send your opinion on this topic to that number and would like to read it. I would like to take some of the opinions from our global correspondents, right? So this is from Taiwo Philip. He says, actually, people are entitled to their opinions. Oh. There are men that know AJS and Pastor Nat that are bad projects, and it shouldn't be a criteria to choose a husband. But in this age and time, you call yourself a vibrant Christian and you don't know Apostle Joseph Selman and Pastor Nathaniel Bassey, it is questionable. So earlier, before I came up on air, I was actually having a very, very heated, engaged conversation with our sound engineer, and he was sharing his opinion about this. And in his words, I say and quote, if you happen to come across somebody that you're interested in and that person doesn't know someone like Apostle Joseph Selman in this day and age, he asks a question, did you meet such a person in the club? I mean, it's almost impossible, particularly in this time where some of the platforms that you even get to meet or interact with these men of God might not be like a direct invitation to their church, but on social media. Instagram has been the platform where we have so many people have interacted with some ministers. We have people who have said that, they came across Apostle Femi Lazarus on Instagram, on TikTok, and that was how they got to hear about them. Search further, went to YouTube or Spotify, or even looked for the church and began to attend any of the centers. So social media has made access to so many things very easy. Not even just men of God now. Yes, are there things that you can come across that maybe have trended online, have been viral at one point or the other, but you didn't get to hear about? Yes. But when it comes to, I want us to weigh in very closely on this matter. This is you deciding or choosing a life partner, right? Or making a decision to enter into a relationship with somebody. And in your talking stage, which is where I can imagine this kind of discovery came about. In your talking stage, where you are talking about so many other things, there's that place of discussing and finding out each other's favorite things. There's that place of trying to now dig deeper and know this person's orientation about life, their thought process, what influences their decisions. And you begin to make some other findings about their family, their background, the school they went to, the kind of friends they keep. Yes, you now want to know who has their ears, who they listen to. And you're talking to this brother and you're saying, I listen to Apostle Femi Lazarus, I listen to Pastor Miracle Femi Lazarus, I listen to Pastor Pojo Yemade, I listen to Apostle Aaron, I listen to Apostle Joseph Selman, AJS. And he goes, who is Apostle Joseph Selman? In fact, me just even playing it out in this way is bringing a lot more practicality to the context, right? And then he goes, who is that? I don't know who that is. First of all, let's be honest, guys. You're actually going to be shocked. Like, you're going to wonder, okay, you don't know Apostle Joshua Selman. Okay, you don't know him, and you maybe make an effort to go through YouTube and show him Apostle Joshua Selman's messages, and he's watching. And because there's a possibility that some persons are not so good with registering names, but can always, recall a face. And so you show him Apostle Joshua Selman's message with a video, right? Ministering on their platform, church platform. And he says, I don't know who that is. The shock will deepen. The shock will get deeper. And you just begin to question some things. How did I get here? What brought me here? I guess that it might be a very, very shocking scenario to recover from. Let me keep reading Taiwo Phillips' comments on this, one of our global correspondents from our Nigerian platform. He says, the Bible says, follow those who by faith and patience obtain the promise. It shouldn't be a criteria though, but I believe the lady who has been blessed by the ministries of these men of God. Yes, there's a way where someone's ministry has really impacted you. You sort of like go on and on and on about that, and it's just mutual. You will want to consider it's mutual, that in somebody, talking to somebody that you like, about a certain minister that has blessed you, it might further consolidate your reason to want to go ahead because you're listening to the same thing. There's something about drinking from the same source. Call it sentiment or what have you, but then it sort of makes a lot of things easier because it informs your values. It informs the thought patterns that you have. I remember a friend of mine who really used to listen to Apostle Joshua Selman. You could not sit with her in an hour and not have her say, some of the references from his messages at least 20 times. And it informed her life. You could see her and you almost trace that she listens to this man of God. Why? Who has your ears, has your life, has your, yes, I know they'll still say life, how I should explain, because what you listen to informs your orientation, informs how you behave, how you act. Joshua Okeke says, well, why do I feel that this was not entirely wrong? It might have been the communication, right? It goes ahead to say that passion, I beg your pardon, just let me take that a bit. Let me take it from this end. Joshua goes ahead to talk about the fact that he feels it was just a miscommunication, right? He feels it was just a miscommunication. Is it a yardstick? No. And she didn't make it one exactly. Just our own standard. So, again, just like Taiwo started by saying that, it's about your own opinion, just like everybody has. I mean, people talk about some of the red flags that they can have, some of the deal breakers that they can have in relationship, and you will consider some things very strange. So why is everybody coming after this auntie who says, if you don't know this kind of people, then maybe you're not the one for me? It's simply our own standard and criteria. You don't want to blame her. You don't want to tag her as somebody who is having a very shallow yardstick. Besides, is this a shallow yardstick? It can be our own desire that was wrongly communicated. Joshua says he loves the balance that Pastor Nathaniel Bassey actually brought to it. If you're just joining us earlier, I read Pastor Nathaniel Bassey's response to this, and it was just saying that there is no need to idolize a certain man of God or a certain minister, or to make some people feel like they're not Christian enough if they're not listening to certain people. It might just be sort of off, was what Pastor Nathaniel Bassey tried to put out. Dubi also mentioned, again from one of our correspondents, saying Pastor Nathaniel has replied it all, and I stand with him on this one. This shouldn't even be a yardstick at all, really, when there are so many spiritual things to consider before your choice of a spouse. So what's your impact? Even if you know this men of God, what's their impact on your life, and how have you been under their administration? It's not just knowing them that's the issue. What a yardstick, really. Our Christianity these days should really be questioned. What a yardstick. What a yardstick. Because there's this divide of the whole thing where, see, there are people who follow closely, who even have maybe are in close proximity to some men of God. I mean, Jesus had a Judas in his camp. It's not a yardstick. Do not marry someone because you feel they listen. Is their life a fruit of what they are listening to? Can you actually see traces in their lives that they follow or listen to this person? Because some people listen, but they don't do. They just listen. They don't do. Some people, some Christians can quote some ministers word for word, verbatim. Their messages have so become one with them. But you look at their life, and then the fruits that they should bear, which are the fruit of the Spirit, which are the things that actually signifies that you are a child of God, right? Emanating from loving one another, or loving your neighbor, or being patient, being kind. All those things are missing. So what Dubi is saying is, would you rather somebody who is an ardent follower of this man of God, but their life is not really reflecting that? Or should what should really matter to you should be that you are with somebody who is a child of God, a true child of God that has a relationship with God, right? A relationship with God, and you can see the fruits of their relationship abiding in their life tangibly in their life. Wave Ajileye from our community of correspondents says, as one who is very media savvy, I dare say there's no end to the list of ministers we will ever have. Every day, sons and daughters are being launched into the field, many unknown, but I believe there are certain men you should know, right? But there are two concerns I have. What must they know these ministers too? Because as you explore nations, the list grows. So he made a very practical question that for our global correspondents, and if you'd like to join our global correspondents, you can just send a message or just, send a message to the number on your screen. We have global correspondents from different places and nations of the world who send opinions just like this on subject matters that seem to, impact or influence the body, and we take some of their references and opinions. And he said, what about the global correspondents? Must they know these ministers too? Because as you explore nations, the list grows. So we have a global correspondent in Portugal who, in my interactions with her, there's been a language barrier. One of the things that our global correspondents actually do is to send us, thoughts and opinions of particularly things going on within their own community or nation. And so she has talked about the language barrier in being, the language in Portugal being Portuguese. And I am so sure that there are men of God in Portugal who are anointed, no doubt, who are maybe known and influential, and God has helped spread their fame abroad. If she happens to mention one of such people who maybe she has even been blessed by their ministry to me here in Nigeria, and I don't know the person, would it not be considered strange? Because what Wave is, pointing out to me is asking directly that what happens when we have a correspondent who wants to probably bring up a report, maybe about a similar story, right, in that part of the world, and we do not even know this person. Are we going to cancel them? Which is what we're saying, people of God. The basis on which you can either choose to cancel somebody should be objective, right? It should hold water. So I'm not going to dismiss a correspondent's report or news submission about something going on, a trending topic, a trending news, or whatever commentary that she has, because I do not know the references she's making. It is still valid. If we want to touch the world, we must be global in our thinking. And which is another reason why, in the impact that we've been called to do, there is no room for segregation. There is no room for canceling people. There is no room because we've been called to build, rather than seeking how to burn bridges, let's seek how to build them. Let's seek how to approach things with an objective global thinking and reasoning. And so I really love that, side and twist to it that Wave Ajileye brought to it. But then again, I'm really going to again look forward to hearing from us. I have one comment here live on YouTube from Yara, right? And I'm going to take it. Yara Pongo, I'd really love to know where you are. Your name seems so unique and I love it. I'd really like to know where you are watching from. She says, I think it's relative and depends on you as a person and what you're looking for in your life. Right? If you have an understanding of the calling over your life and your consecrations, etc., then I feel, yes, your partner should most definitely know at least enough gospel ministers. Same thing that we're saying. It depends on what really works for such person. Just like Yaria, I really hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Your name seems so unique and beautiful. She goes on to say, it doesn't necessarily have to be a regular listener or follower, but he must know them and honor them. Of course, this emphasis of honor that, that Yara is chipping into the whole conversation is also very profound, because now you remember I was painting the scenario to us where you are having a conversation with this person and you guys are gisting about the ministers that you listen to or the songs that blessed you, and then you go, oh, Apostle Joseph Selman, he doesn't know. You go to YouTube and show him Apostle Joseph Selman, he still doesn't know. And to now further tick the red flag or make the red flag ticker and it goes to say, all these men of God, well, I don't follow them so much like that, I just follow God. you really want to run. Which is what, I believe Yaria is saying here, that it doesn't necessarily have to be a regular listener or a follower, but he knows them, right? And she goes further to say, but he must know them and honor them. That emphasis of honor is very, 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 very major. Would really love to read some of our comments. Looking forward to our opinions on this, as always. Yes, if you're watching this on YouTube and you're yet to subscribe, it's a very good time for you to subscribe as well and share the link with your loved ones. And let's just really weigh in on this matter. I want to conclude on one of the correspondent reports I was reading earlier and just tie this whole conversation up. It's been an interesting one, seeing how so many comments have been flying off about these subjects. Wave continues to say that there are certain believers who don't follow their direct spiritual heads as they follow celebrity ministers, in quotes. They would rather share the content of these ministers than those laboring over them directly. They'd sometimes ditch their local church to attend meetings of these people. Now, this is something that touching this would mean that I'll be shaking some tables. And what Wave is saying is very practical, and really like to do a big shout out to Wave. He's one of our very, very active, strong members of our global community of correspondents. He's saying in simple terms that are you sure, right, that this particular person doesn't know them? Or is it just about the fact that you as a person, you pose to want to associate with some popular, like he said, celebrity ministers, and want to put up a front that, oh, you follow them, you don't miss Hallelujah Challenge, or you stream all their services and meetings. However, there are people laboring directly over you that you're not even loud about, that you're not big on. And how many of us are truly guilty of this? How many people sort of will be quick to share posts or even listen so much more, intently to other ministers that opposed to the direct covering over them, direct as opposed to where they are planted. How many people actually do this? So sometimes it's just about the in thing, following or listening to who is in vogue, who is trending now, right? And there are many times where in the body of Christ we see that there's a certain man of God that everybody gravitates towards, and everybody wants to claim that they follow them, they know them. So people even go as far as saying that is my spiritual father, and that man has never seen them, doesn't know their name. It's beyond affiliations, right? To just tie this up, I would just like to say, let me quickly chip in. Yaria, but she's watching from France. Hi, so good that you're watching from France. Would you like to join our community of correspondents? We would like to have a correspondent from France. I do not think we have, someone, a representative from France already. So please, there's a number on the screen right now. It's a WhatsApp number. You can send a message. I mean, if it's going to be that you're available to share your thoughts on this kind of topics, would like to have you join that global community. So Yaria Pongo, I really do hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. If I'm not, send a WhatsApp message to the number so you can maybe send a VN and I'll get to have a listening on how to pronounce your name correctly. So just to tie this up, like I was saying, there's a place where there are certain things that people have as desires for who they want to spend the rest of their life with. I'm not going to dismiss this particular lady's standard, saying if, the person who is showing interest in her doesn't actually listen to certain men of God, it's a deal breaker. Because a serious-minded person, every serious-minded person should look at a prospective relationship in the long range of marriage, the long-term goal, rather, of marriage, right? And on that basis of unism that starts from thought patterns, opinions, influences in your thinking, it's many times better that you both at least listen to the same source, or listen to the same people, or drink from the same source. It is better. However, is it a basis on which you should dismiss someone or not even maybe consider them right, for relationship or marriage? Is it strong enough? Because what if they know these people, they follow them, they don't miss their meetings, but they have questionable character, they have anger issues? I mean, it's a good time to chip in. Pastor Laju's recent movie that I got to see over the weekend, Last to Marry, and in that, you should watch it if you haven't. By the way, it's on YouTube. Just go to Laju Aaron on YouTube and you get to watch that movie. I mean, a practical case of the young man that the lead actress in that movie was interested in, tongue speaking, demon chasing believer, but had anger issues. I mean, close to eating her on some occasions, had bad temper, nasty temper. So should she forfeit the fact that he has a bad temper but listens closely to some prominent men of God, and make that the basis on which she would end up in a marriage with him? Is that what we're saying? On the flip side, there are certain things, like I mentioned, that can just be a standard, that can just be a way to further endorse or consolidate somebody's interest in you deeper, that they listen to some people and you can actually see the fruits in their life. So the question is open-ended. We'll still like to take comments and opinions from you. Let us know. We'd like to read from you. On that note, guys, it's a wrap. Thank you for joining this episode of Trent. My name is PJ. If you're watching this on YouTube and you're yet to subscribe, hit the subscribe button now. If you're watching this on television and you're also yet to subscribe or even follow what we share or do on YouTube, you might want to just pick up your phone right about now, go to YouTube, search Ambience Television, and subscribe. If you'd like to be a part of our global community of correspondence, just like I'm so sure that Yaria Pongo is going to be joining us all the way from France, please send a message to the number on your screen now and we'd like to onboard you. Thank you for joining till I come your way next time.